welcome to another exciting episode of Way of the Brush with me, your host, Kris, aka the Name Butcher, aka Hey You Get Off My Lawn, aka Kris, you're being creepy again. Way of the Brush, the most informative 120 minutes on the internet on the wargaming lifestyle. We'll talk about painting, terrain, conversions, and just about everything under the sun, meaning no topics are barred. We'll talk about anything and everything. We usually do a lot of painting talk, as well as a lot of what's under the sun. So, you want to keep the conversation on the painting side of things, be sure to ask your questions in the chat, whichever direction it might be in for you. Of course, you can always submit questions to Kris@wayofthebrush.com. It is in the description below. If you're going to send pictures, send them as attachments in the email. Don't send it off as links to other sites, because it's annoying. It won't do it, so just send it as attachments. Also in the description below is a link to wayofthebrush.com, central hub of all this silliness. Has the links to all the social medias as well as Discord. Join us on the Discord. We only have one rule in the Discord: don't be a dick. That's it. That's the only rule in the Discord. Don't be a dick. And of course, there's lots of conversation going on there. So feel free to join us there as well. Also at wayofthebrush.com is links for t-shirts. Want to get yourself a t-shirt? Look like a connoisseur of all that is good and holy in this world. They're wearing a Way of the Brush t-shirt. And if you purchase yourself a shirt, send a picture of yourself in your shirt, and I will add it to the Monkey Shrine, which is also at wayofthebrush.com, because it's nice to put a name to the face and a face to the name. So, it just helps. It helps me to keep track of what everybody looks like, because I need to know. Again, it's part of that whole creepy thing. Also at wayofthebrush.com, you'll find a link for Patreon. Huge thank you to all my patrons for their continued support, and to all the brand new ones as well. So a huge thank you to all of you. If you want to support the channel, huge thank you. That's really how it's mainly going to happen. Although I am considering turning on the membership thing on the YouTube side of things. So, I don't know. I've been thinking about it. I might have to. I just might have to. I can't remember the rest of my spiel, so I'm just going to say big thank you to Carl, Guy Alfer, Beer and Blood Bowl, YouTube channel. Check it out. If you love yourself some beer, you love yourself some Blood Bowl, Beer and Blood Bowl is where it's at. We always take time to thank Carl, even though he is no longer with us, for taking the time out of his busy day to create the email jingles to play before the email segments of the show. And so always much love to Carl. And of course, speaking of love, much love to my baby brother Evan for creating the intro, outro music that plays at the beginning and end of the show. And so always much love to my baby bro Evan. And if you're into rare comics, EB Comics. It's in the description below. Rare. Don't waste no time with those new Spider-Mans. I'm talking rare, like rare. Or if you're into beefcakes, you can check him out on Instagram. He's working out. He just posted pictures like just a little while ago. He's working out. He's got to do more leg day, I think. His arms are big enough. I don't know what he's training for, but I think he's got to do more on the legs. I'm not going to tell him. You can tell him, though. I'm not telling him that. Who's joining us today? I can see Sophie Wiley. Happy Saturday, monkeys and Kris. Happy Saturday to you, Sophie. And happy birthday. I noticed you posted on Discord. Tomorrow is your birthday, so happy birthday. Preemptive birthday, I realize, but, it still stands. Happy birthday. Evan Belleau, sup everybody? Sup Evan Belleau? Dark Commission, hi Kris and Monkeys, hi. Sophie, oh my god, the Tash has gone? Yes. And I did this last week. Not that I was, I had other things going on last weekend. That's why I didn't do a show. But I knew I wanted to get rid of this, and so I ended up filming it. So it's on the Patreon. Me just shaving it off. I actually do... Well, Sophie, you actually might get a kick out of this. I did the wharf. I shaved the middle, because I was going to shave like the ends and just leave the middle, but I got like, there's no hair that grows here, so it would look just kind of like two little, it would look like captain's bars, right? But no, I left the ends for a little bit there, just, yeah, anyway. Bit of the Commander Worf thing. But anyway, yeah. So if anybody's actually curious about the whole process of Kris shaving off his mustache, yeah. So, as far as, everything goes, yeah, I'm going to keep clean shaven for a while. I actually to be completely honest with you, I'm going to be, okay, hold on. Okay, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I actually never really cared for the mustache. Believe it or not, I actually did not care for it. I've been very clean shaven like a majority of my life, and it's probably the only last like maybe 6-7 years that I sported the mustache, just because, you know, you get into some of those phases, and I'm sure every guy knows this out there, that you know, you just hit a certain point in your shaving cycle that you end up just kind of like letting it just kind of come out, and it just kind of takes off. And I actually had like the full goat for a while, and then I shaved it down, and I let just like this little strip run here, and then I actually let that grow really long, and I actually was like, you know, I could not braid it, but like I put it in like a little ponytail on my chin, and did all sorts of weird shit, you know, just having fun with it. And then, but facial hair, I don't actually care for facial hair on myself. Other people, that's fine. Myself, I really actually don't care for it. And yeah, the hair though, this again was a completely new thing for me, shaving all the way off, like shaving it right down. In fact, I'm due. You can see actually there's a bit of growth. You can actually see some of the hairs standing up. I'm gonna shave it a couple more times. Then probably once it starts getting a little cooler, I think then I'm just gonna start letting it grow through the winter months. It's gonna get into like this big afro like thing, and then yeah. So I'm gonna probably start wearing ball caps again, just because there's an awkward phase when you're kind of letting your hair grow out. Yeah, the ball caps help without feeling too weird about it all. Anyway, Dark Commission, where's Kris? What have you done with him? You know, not much. I've got him stashed in the closet somewhere. I've got his corpse hidden. I forgot to turn that off. Got the little thing running there. Turn that off. Overwhelm my poor little computer. Speaking of which, I need a new computer. Sophie, you do look younger though. Well, thank you. It's actually, you know what the other thing is too? It's like, it's kind of warm down here. It's kind of warm where I am right now. And yeah, get a little bit sweaty. So actually when I'm sweating here, it becomes more apparent. And in fact, you can already kind of see like some stubble showing up. Of course, all my freaking pimples. I'm gonna be 50 soon enough, and I still get acne like I'm fucking 15. Fucking pisses me off. I'm sure it's probably dietary. I don't know what it is that I'm eating, or it's hormones. I don't know, or maybe I'm perpetually in puberty. I don't know, but either way, enough about me. Fire Drink 18. Hello. Yeah, it's gone, bud. It's gone. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of shock. Everybody's kind of like, oh my god, what did Kris do to himself? But then again, some of you guys who've been, you know, paying attention to the kind of crap I talk about, you know that this was coming. This was coming. I was getting rid of this. I talk about it all the time. Shaving it right off. So, yeah. Fire Drake, I see a certified space monkey ready to be shot into space. Yeah, exactly, man. Like the first astronauts. And you do recall, we do have a Project Mayhem. So, speaking of which, I got to send more shit out. I've been way behind on that stuff. All the patrons. I know I owe a bunch of you some dice, so I know I got to get on that. I know. The Wannabe Painter, let it grow, and in May next year, you will look like Cousin It from Addams Family. I'll look like Cousin It? The hand? Isn't Cousin It the hand? Uncle Fester. Uncle Fester is the bald one with, like, dark eyes. I do, as I'm gotten older, I do get these dark circles under my eyes. I don't know what it's from. Age, I guess. I'm getting old. Believe it or not, people, I'm getting old. I know, it's hard to believe. Kris, you're getting old? Yeah, I'm getting old. As are we all. So, yeah. Sophie. No, not Cousin It. Grown long, then mohawk, dye it bright red. Ooh, like a Slayer? Yeah. I like dwarf Slayers. I like them little fellers, man. That's the only thing I really like about the dwarves is the dwarf Slayers. You know, they just got these big fuck off axes. They got these big fuck off mohawks. They're just They're just all round. Fuck off. And I'm in for it. I'm in for dwarf slayers. Although, you know, like for Age of Sigmar though, I really wish there was more to their line. Like more units, more things for them, more variations on the Slayer. I don't know, you know. I just wish there was more. I would probably get way into them if there was more Slayers. But yeah, Fire Drake, I do recall. Yeah, exactly. We don't talk about it. Exactly. You know, that's a joke we haven't done in a while. The thing we don't talk about. So, for all of you longtime viewers, maybe we'll see a return of the thing we don't talk about. Let's see. What do we have for the G-Dub side of things? What's up for pre-order today? What is up for pre-order? We've got the Battle of Osgiliath. Anybody been watching the Rings of Power? Anybody been watching that? I've been watching it. I've been enjoying it. I'm not married to the books or the lore. I'm a fan of the first Peter Jackson films. The Hobbit movies, they're all right, but I think there's just way too much CG in those things. But anyway, yeah. So we got a bunch of models. Ooh, the Elrond. Yeah, that new Elrond. That new Elrond model is really cool. Oh, the Battle Host. Oh, you get a whole bunch of, like, you get a mounted and on foot version of Saruman and Gandalf, the Witch King. Oh, the Rohan Battle Host. Some Skeenery. Got the Demios pattern battle tank. Heavy weapons for the Space Marines in Horus Heresy. Now, quick question. What exactly is a Volkite Culvern? What exactly is it? Like, what's it shooting? Because it's not quite a plasma, right? Because they got plasma guns right there. So what's a Volkite? What does it fire? Is it a bolt? Is it energy? Is it a laser? Like, what is it? Because they got las cannons. So what's a Volkite? What exactly is a Volkite? Reference cards. We got our buddy Kalima. I did an unboxing of that today. Should have got posted. I like the Gore Chosen duder. He's just badass. I'm probably gonna paint that just on my own, just for myself. I'm even tempted. Okay, hear me out. I'm even tempted to do him as a conversion for my Corpse Grinders. Because he totally gives me Corpse Grinder vibes. It's just a cool looking model. Kalima. Yeah. This dude, this guy's cool as hell. This guy's cool. He's cooler. I like, too, that show him kind of like they're the same size. They ain't. He's huge. Oi. Jeez Louise. Kalima. Very, very cool. I gotta get in on more Warhammer Underworlds. Getting some games in. Data cards, White Dwarves, novels, Horse Heresy, print on demand. Ooh. So you can just go up to them, demand them. Hey, there's some Fire Slayers, some Deepkin. Cute. Some novels, some more novels. Oh yeah, the Kill Team token tin. Ooh. All sorts of novels. The Kill Team Anal. Very, very cool. All sorts of but I think this Kill Team stuff was last week, wasn't it? A lot of this Kill Team stuff? Like the Pokwalkers and the Star Striders. I think that was all last week, wasn't it? Either way, very, very cool. Oh, and also, the Forge World also has the Necromunda stuff. Necromunda. Yeah, the Goliaths, because I did a unboxing of those. And where the hell's Forge World? There it is. I'm just going to have a quick look. Over at the Forge World. Oh, yeah, they released these duders. Oh. I don't know. I like that Legion Praetor here. The guy in the Tartaros armor or whatever the hell it is. Yeah. I like this. I know there's some that out there that probably don't really care for it. I like it. I dig it. This screams after children, and like, where do you go from there for like the other legions, like, you know, Sons of Horus or Imperial Fists, and you know what I mean? Like this is just so darn cool. Like any other Terminator suits are just not gonna, you know, be as lavish as this. Like, that's really good. It's the helmet, I think. It's the helmet that draws me right in. I like that helmet. It's just different. And I like when, you know, G-Dubs takes a chance on stuff. Oh, we got all the heads, shoulder pads. Yeah, we got the champion with a renderizer. I like Buddy Killfist there. Oh, and the speaker dudes. Oh, these guys. And then Axon Hammer. Yeah. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. There you go. So yeah. That's everybody up to date now on what's up for pre-order. For everybody to spend their money. It's a big Lord of the Rings release. It's a whole bunch of stuff for Lord of the Rings. Those battle hosts are pretty cool. I don't play Lord of the Rings. I have no idea what the gameplay is like. I've never played it. I've never sat and watched it. So, yeah, I'm, you know, I have no idea. I mean, the game could be crap for all I know. Although I have heard that the Lord of the Rings game plays a bit like the first iteration of Age of Sigmar. But I don't know how true that is. I mean, any of you out there who've played the Lord of the Rings games, let me know, because yeah, I've heard that comparison. Like, is it a fun game? I don't know, but yeah. Where the hell am I don't know. Fire Drake, I've seen first 2 episodes. We'll watch 3 after the stream. Yeah, I finished the 3rd episode last night, and yeah, we're moving along. And the rumor is the show is slated for 5 seasons. They're going to produce 5 seasons straight up. That's happening, right? So it's very, very interesting. And it feels like, you know, we're in for a journey. We're in for a journey with this show, which I'm in for. And if everything, the writing and the storytelling and the visuals, you know, if it all remains consistent like we've gotten so far, then yeah, the show I think will be fantastic. Yeah, I know it's not, you know, following too close to, you know, established lore, but I'm not married to the lore anyway, so it doesn't bother me any. And I mean, you know, as long as they can manage to tell a compelling story, I'll keep watching, you know. And yeah, but yeah, I finished the 3rd one last night. It's very, very interesting. I like that we're finally getting into another faction, as it were, and I like that we're establishing the beginnings of things, and I that's also very interesting, like kind of how it comes to be, kind of thing. I dig that. I like that. And of course, you know, you tell some, you know, compelling story with some interesting characters, and so far, I mean, all the characters have been interesting. The Hobbits, love them, you know. Galadriel, you know, she seems like a bit of a hard ass. She doesn't seem like that when you see her in the Lord of the Rings films, right? She seems very, you know, queen-like, and in this, she's not. She's, you know, she's kind of a pain in the ass. She's a little bit of a pain in the ass, which is fine. I mean, you know, she's a warrior, right? So yeah, it's interesting. Sophie could be a Melta weapon. Volkite is Melta, is it? Dark Commission. Anything starting Vol could infer magma. Magma, liquid hot magma. Is that what it is? Volkite is like the early Melta technology. Okay. Interesting. I don't know. I'm like, you know, the Horus Heresy era type stuff and like the rules for, like, you know, I know Volkite stuff has been around for a while, but yeah, I'm sure somebody's probably already told me, and it's just like, you know, in one ear out the other kind of thing. Whatever. But I'm just curious. Fire Drake, convert a heart in his hand, and you have to put a heart in his hand. Kali Ma, yeah, it's tempting. He's a big dude. That dude's huge. Like, he's tall, and I mean, you don't really picture like worshippers of corn being all kind of cheering on, like you picture him more like the Gore Hulk, like it's just spazzed out and he's ready to tear your face off kind of thing. And Kali Ma looks like he's more subversive, he's gonna persuade you to kill yourself kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like it's that kind of thing. So I don't know, it's very, very interesting. I might have to do him with the heart. It would be a fun conversion. A little on the nose, I think, but whatever. Fire Drake. Dark Commission is right. Some type of railgun that shoots fire. It's a railgun that shoots fire. Whoa. A railgun that shoots fire. That sounds deadly. That sounds deadly. Sophie, how much is horse? How much is that horse in the window? How much is that horse in the window? Scott Radom. Hey, folks. Hey. Fulgrim's boy puss. Where is it? Where's what? Where's what? I don't know. Where it is? I used to be with it. Then they changed what it was. Now what's it? Is strange and unusual. Fire Drake. Amazon Prime. Oh yeah, the new Lord of the Rings show. Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime. Yeah, I've been enjoying it so far. There's quite a few shows right now that I'm into. Obviously, waiting for Andor. I'm looking forward to that one. When that initially was talked about, I was like, I don't know. Andor, do we really know? Because again, it was kind of like Kenobi, and they managed to tell a really good story with Kenobi that doesn't disturb what we already established with Kenobi. And so Andor, do we really need the Andor story, considering that we already know how he meets his end, which means that every peril that he finds himself in, we know he's going to get out because we know how he dies, right? I mean, like, it's that kind of thing, right? So do we really need it? But I think the main focus is really about, obviously, the shift and how, the rebellion really kind of gets started. And I think that's going to be kind of an interesting story, basically, fighting against the Empire and everything like that. So I'm in for that one. What are the other shows I'm watching? Oh, C on Apple TV. If you guys, like, for anybody who's doesn't have Apple TV and you're not watching C, there's so many great shows on Apple and that nobody really talks about. The only one that anybody talks about is Ted Lasso, which was great. It was a great show. I watched all of that one, loved it. And another great one was like Morning Show. That was the one, Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon, and that was another really great show. And C with Jason Momoa, a fantastic show. I love it, and that one comes out Fridays. Been enjoying She-Hulk. It's been good for a laugh. I like the lighthearted storytelling. Again, I'm not married to the lore of She-Hulk or anything like that. I've just been thoroughly enjoying it. It's funny, it's comical, it's light, and it's managing to tell a story, right? So I've been enjoying it. What the hell else am I watching? There was another show I'm watching. You can tell it's really had an impact on me because I can't name it. Lord of the Rings, C, She-Hulk. Is that it? I can't remember all this shit. But anyway, yeah. If you guys aren't watching C, man, it's a good show. Unfortunately, it's only going to be 3 seasons, though. It's on its 3rd, and they say it's the final season. So they already told us ahead of time that this is going to be the final season for the show, which is unfortunate because I think it's some of Momoa's best performance, his best acting, I think. Every other thing I've watched Momoa in, he's kind of Momoa. But in this one, it's some of his best. It's kind of like you can have, like, a lot of people, For example, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, he's not much of an actor, but you know, he's had so many iconic roles. But I think one of his best ones was Maggie. That was probably one of his best performances as if we're, you know, gauging him by as an actor. Yeah, that's probably, he was really swinging for the fences on that one. And, you know, it was interesting. It was a very interesting story. It's sad as fuck, but yeah. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with any of that. Anyway, Fulgrim's Boy Puss. The stash, where is it? It's in the garbage. I'll let you in on a little secret. Okay, I'll let you in on a little secret. It was always fake. I always glued it on. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I shaved that shit off. Come on, man. If you've been watching me for any length of time, you know I bitch and bitch and bitch about many things. But the mustache, yeah, I've been talking about getting rid of it. I finally got rid of it. I finally got rid of it last week. Then I went, after I did that, I went and got some sun, trying, you know, even out my face, because it actually was a little pale on the ends here. So, but yeah. Had to, man. Had to. I've been mostly clean shaven most of my life. And honestly, like, many people who, you know, are native North Americans, we don't grow facial hair very well. We're not hairy people. So it was all smoke and mirrors to begin with. It was all smoke and mirrors. And yeah, so basically I didn't want to live a lie anymore. I didn't want to live a lie. Anyway. Fire Drake. Galandria seems reckless. Yeah, she is a little bit reckless, isn't she? She is a little bit reckless, considering that. But I mean, like, it's also, you know, she's like, by the time we get to her in Lord of the Rings, right, and we see her and she's very queen-like, you know, she's had some time to grow, you know, if elves grow, I guess. But anyway, versus who we're seeing in this show, where yeah, she's a bit more impetuous and forthright, and you know, and it's kind of funny in this. Oh no, I don't want to spoil it. Never mind, I'm not going to say it. So, but anyway, yeah, you get a different appearance of her in the show. There's a moment where you're like, hey, I don't think we've seen that from her. But anyway, yeah, watch the show. I don't want to spoil it. Anyway, oh, I sound like I was gonna bust into Lion King there. Anyway, Fulgrim, jokes aside, you look good, bud. Thank you. I feel good. I feel better getting rid of it all. Oh man, and like since I've cut my hair and everything like that, showering, man, I'm like, I usually turn on music when I go into the shower. I usually have music playing while I, you know, scrub up and everything. I'm not gonna do a Patreon video of that, so don't ask. But anyway, yeah, I can usually get showered like in the span of about a song and a half, depending on what song we're talking about. Like most of the music I listen to is like heavy metal. A lot of heavy metal runs about 5 minutes, and yeah, I can get her done in about 5 minutes. And now that I cut my hair and I got rid of the mustache, yeah, it's like bar soap, just all over the place, bang, rinse off, and I'm out. You know. In fact, I can probably shower so fast that I don't even get wet from the water. Not you get it. Anyway. Your Fire Drake. Kris never had a stash. You okay, buddy? Don't gaslight me. He never had a stash. Yeah, it's a whole Inception thing. And there never wasn't a stash. What are you talking about? Evan Belleau. Magnetize the heart so you can swap it for a cartoony Valentine heart. It's funny. No, I want full gore. I want full gore. Isn't there a character called Full Gore? Is there a character called Full Gore? If you hear rumbling or vibrating sounds, it's because I have my fan running. Again, like I said, it's warm. Yeah, you can tell by my upper lip. Now you guys can all see my upper lip when I sweat. Not just my greasy forehead, but yeah. Anyway. Where the hell am I? Fire Drake. Yeah, you might want to lie down. Kris has always been clean shaven, so yeah, take a break. Go touch grass. Fire Drake. I like She-Hulk. Also, just saw Thor: Love and Thunder last night. Oh, is that one out? I haven't been on Disney Plus in a bit since Thursday. since She-Hulk. But yeah, I've been enjoying it. It's been fun. And I didn't know Thor was out yet. I'll have to check that out. Maybe we'll watch that tonight. I have to convince the fam. What's today? Saturday? Oh, I think there's baseball on tonight. Been watching the Blue Jays a lot lately. Been watching more baseball. Family's got me into baseball a little bit. I'm not a diehard baseball fan. Most of the time I just fucking, I fall asleep and whatever. But yeah, I've always made the joke that baseball. I'd rather watch flies fuck than watch baseball. But somehow my family, the things I do for my family, really, yeah, they got me into baseball. I've been watching the Blue Jays, and yeah, just seeing if these guys can make the playoffs and see if they can make magic happen again, But anyway, Fulgrim, Drake, I'm a purge your ass if you don't stop fucking with me. Scott. I like to. I like and see when the Queen Paya prays, and it really gets down to business. Yeah, that obviously is a metaphor, right? Of 500 years into the future, of what praying to God is, right? Like it's obviously, how you equate the two, like how you come to that conclusion that that's how they pray. Yeah. It's messed up. It's fucked up. The future's fucked up, man. The future's fucked up. But I like C. C's a really good show. I enjoy that. And that's another one with, some great characters, some great cinema photography, great music, great. It's a really good show. And I'm surprised that not more people talk about it. Because, yeah. Another one on Apple Plus, like everything that I've watched so far on Apple Plus has been really, really good. For All Mankind, I've been really enjoying that one. That one's just a drama. That's just straight up drama. But it's kind of a sci-fi. And yeah, I've been enjoying that one. Foundation. That's the whole reason I got Apple Plus was for Foundation. I'm dying for the next season of that. I'm wondering how far that one goes. Yeah. But what I really enjoy about the Apple shows is that they're different. They're different from what we get from the mainstream type of stuff. That they are actually telling interesting stories that you would most likely would not see coming out of, Disney or Paramount or, Warner Brothers or whatever, right? Like all these main big, the big studios. And I find that really, really interesting that, you wouldn't see these kinds of things. They wouldn't put the effort in. And the production value of all the Apple TV shows is top tier. It's better than what you see out of a lot of other shows. It's really, really interesting how everybody just kind of passes over all these things, and it's like you're missing out on some really great, everybody who's kind of like myself included, who's really, really tired of Marvel movies, of these Marvel shows. I'm tired. Like She-Hulk. That's why I've been really enjoying She-Hulk, because it's different. It's very light. It's funny, and it's telling a perspective of the Marvel universe that we normally don't get to see, and everybody always kind of memes or jokes about, but it's actually doing it, and it's very self-conscious of that, and it's very, very fun. And yeah, so again, it's just, yeah, been enjoying it. Anyway, I have no idea where the hell I am. Fire Drake. Unfortunately, I no longer have Apple, so I may miss season 3. Also Foundation. Yeah, season 3 of C. Oh man, it's so far ooh, oh, some of the people there, you're just like ooh. And the one who's becoming one of my favorites in the show is the character Harlan. I mean, he seems like a conniver. And in this new season, yeah, he's not in a bad way. He's just one of those guys. He's resourceful, and it's good. It's good. Foundation. Fulgrim, no. Scott Radham, Just watched The Wire over and over again, dude. Omar coming. You know, I've never watched The Wire. I've never watched The Wire. I know. Bad, Kris. Bad. I know. There's plenty of shows that I haven't watched. You know, like another one is like Succession. I know a lot of people talk about that one. Oh, and Warner Brothers. I mean, like Raised by Wolves. Apparently, they're not doing any more Raised by Wolves. That sucks because I was enjoying that. Of course, don't watch that when you're high. Especially the first season. I finished like the first season of that, and especially when it got about halfway into the season. I binged it like the second half of that season in a day, and I was high. And that end of that first season, man, I almost got nightmares from it somehow. It was just freaked me right out. The implications of what we were talking about in that show was just like, whoa, that's some heavy duty stuff. But it's Ridley Scott, so it's not surprising. He likes those heavy topics, which is why I like Ridley Scott, because he does tackle deeper subject matter, you know, and he's asking these deeper kind of philosophical kind of questions, and I'm in for that kind of stuff. I like, you know, the deeper philosophies behind things, you know. It's just very, very interesting to me. Fire Drake, Orville, great show. Orville, yeah, love Orville. Love it. It's a great show. I mean, Seth MacFarlane, man, I'm sure everybody at CBS is kicking themselves in the ass for not hiring Seth MacFarlane. As the rumor goes, that Seth MacFarlane approached CBS to do Star Trek. He wanted to do Star Trek, and they turned him down. And so he said, fuck you, I'll make Star Trek then. And he made Star Trek better than Star Trek at the time. Some would argue still is making it better. I don't know. The later seasons of Discovery, not bad. It's not really Star Trek, though. Strange New Worlds, I've been thoroughly enjoying Strange New Worlds. That's Star Trek. It's a return to Star Trek, I should say. It's not Star Trek. I think Orville is doing Star Trek better than Star Trek, but Strange New Worlds is definitely a return. Picard, I don't know. Picard, I have mixed feelings about. The first season, I think what happens in the first season, I think should have been the second season, and what happens in the second season of Picard should have been the first season. And so what we're getting with this third season, I think that's probably where it should have started, I think. So I think the seasons are all mixed up, and maybe that's the point. Ooh, maybe that's the point. Maybe the seasons are not in chronological order. Oh, there we go. Mindbender. Fluke Skywalker. Hey, my dudes and dudettes. Hey, Fluke. Oh, Fluke. Or is it F. Luke Skywalker? Is it F. Luke Skywalker? Like, fuck Luke Skywalker. Or is it Fluke Skywalker? Like, it's a joke. Like, he's a fluke. I don't know. I get jokes. Fulgrim. I'm Choctaw, so I'm familiar with your follicle fuckery. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's, you know. You ever see those memes with like the Chihuahua and it's got like, you know, a couple chin hairs and that's every native's full beard? Yeah, it's very true. I mean, like for myself personally, that's as dense as it gets here. Like you could still see plenty of skin, right? It's not that dark. And like this is probably like almost a millimeter long, but like there's no hair on my cheeks. Like I like if I wanted to try and grow a chin strap, man, I'd have to glue on hairs just to fill in the gaps. Like it's patchy and it's garbage. Me growing facial hair looks like garbage. It's garbage. It's hot summertime garbage. It's hot garbage, I'm telling you. Sophie, Thor Love and Thunder was so funny. Yeah? Okay. Well, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it, people. Don't spoil it. Scott Raiden, baseball stinks. Real sports tomorrow. Yes. Well, it started Thursday. We caught that game. That was watching the Bills. I mean, I'm deep in the territory of Bills being here because, yeah. But, yeah, the Bills win Thursday night. That was impressive. And any of you longtime viewers know that in my household, things get a little tense when it's Cincinnati versus Pittsburgh in this house. So, yeah. But, Scott, yeah, good luck with your Browns. Fire Drake. A little to its detriment. I think they had too many jokes. Ragnarok, a bit perfect for me, but I still really liked it. Ragnarok, I liked Ragnarok. And it makes the first Thor and the second Thor dry. Like boring even. By comparison to Ragnarok. I like the kind of dum-dum Thor. He's not a dum-dum, but I mean like, you know, he's not he's always portraying himself to be this, you know, superhero, and you know, he's always kind of like messing it up somehow, right? And so, yeah. I enjoy it. I enjoy the humorous side of these characters. I think it's far than trying to tell some sort of realistic, darker type of, like, let DC handle that kind of stuff, you know. And you can see how it's going for them, right? People want to be entertained and having a laugh. You want to be, you want to have a good time with superheroes because it's comic book stuff. I mean, it's, you know, taking it all too seriously, I think. So, yeah. Scott Raydon, Blackbird on Apple was good. Shout out to Paul Walter Hauser. I didn't watch. Did I watch? No, I don't think I watched Blackbird. Yeah, that's a newer one, right? Yeah. The other one too is Severance. I haven't watched Severance yet. Apparently, Severance is really good as well. But yeah. Sophie, Picard's season should be out soon. I think season 3. Is it? I know. I just saw a teaser for it the other day, and it was giving us more clips from the show. Like 709 is the captain of the Titan or something like that. So yeah, I'm in. I mean, I'm still gonna watch it because, you know, I'm a Star Trek nerd. Oh, and Lower Decks new season. There are 3 seasons in for that. Anybody who's not watching Lower Decks and loves Star Trek, I don't know what you're doing with your life, because Lower Decks is fucking hilarious. And I'm looking forward to apparently they're doing a crossover episode of Lower Decks where they end up on the bridge of the Enterprise under Captain Pike. So apparently, yeah. Should be interesting. Should be fun. Scott Raydon, next time baseball is on, don't watch. Watch The Wire instead. I might. I might. Fire Drake. What? I'm more raised by wolves. Yeah. No, apparently no more Raised by Wolves. Apparently they're not renewing it. Apparently. Which is unfortunate because I was thoroughly enjoying Raised by Wolves. I thought that was a very interesting story. And I liked I kind of liked how it was. It is a bit of the idea, not that it would fit within the universe or anything like that. It's not like, it's not the same thing in that regard, but it's kind of like Prometheus in the sense that the end is the beginning and the beginning is the end. And it's all cycles, you know? So, yeah. It's very interesting, though. Dark Commission. I bubble wrapped my TV 3.5 years ago. Don't subscribe to any stream services, and I still don't have time to fit everything in on an average day. No, well, I mean, average day? Yeah, I can fit a show in or two. Yeah. Because I make videos. I take a break, grab some food, maybe make another video, work on some stuff. Can't show you guys what I'm working on. My desk's a mess right now. It's a complete mess. It's a complete mess. I've got sprues all over the place right now. I actually have been working on stuff, and I haven't been filming it, unfortunately, folks. So I might film something. I actually asked a question in the Discord of, and maybe I'll ask you all here that are here with me today. Which style of tutorials that I've done in the past, do you guys like them where they're all in one, or do you like them the way I've been doing them, where I show the beginning and end of a specific area? So like if I'm working on, say, the red of an armor, we show the red of the armor, and then if I'm working on the hair, I show the hair, and then, you know what I mean, the flesh, and you know what I mean? Or do you like tutorials that are, okay, here's the beginning, bang, we're doing the red, we're doing the thing, we're doing, you know what I mean? It's all in one video. Or do you like when it's separate videos? Just a question. Scott, Dark Commission has no TV. Let's get him. Fulgrim, I'm German as well. My cheeks would be fuzzy if I shaved often. Mutton chops are not out of the question. I think Ragnarok was great. People say it was a setback to all the lessons he learned before he still stays true to those lessons, while also being a lovable gooba, like those little mushroom people in Mario Land. Kim, hey, I'm a bit late, but here I am. Took a bit of time with some side business, Kim's got a side hustle going. I don't know what Kim's doing, but it sounds illegal. Fulgrim. Oh, hey, Kris, let me get a whiff. Get a whiff? Whiff of what? What was I doing? What was I talking about? Get a whiff. I don't know. I think Fulgrim's getting weird. Fire Drake. You have been fined 1 demerit for being late. Yeah. You are fined 1 demerit under the city ordinance. Kim, I watched Love and Thunder the other day. It was pretty good. Well, so far, it seems like the general consensus is that Love and Thunder is pretty good. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. I like the lighter side of things. Sophie. I also like serious stuff as well, but, you know. Out of superhero movies, I prefer the lighter side of things. I don't, you know, like the last Batman movie, it was fine. A little dark, like, visually. Yeah. Like gritty realism. Our world is gritty and realistic enough. You know what I mean? Like, do we really need that in our fake superhero made up bullshit stuff? Not really. I don't think so. It's supposed to be entertainment. It's supposed to be escapism, right? It's supposed to be escapism. Sophie. Bits at a time, they we can study each piece and practice. Bits at a time. Oh, you like bits at a time? Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, it was just kind of, it was something that struck me last night as I was kind of like, because I go through sometimes in my feed and I see some other creators putting tutorials out, and it's like the entire project in one video. And you know, it kind of makes me wonder because, well, I can see that it gets a lot of traffic, and the channels are, some of the channels that I'm watching, they're about the same amount of subscribers and such as myself, but they have like 10 times the views versus the stuff that I've made. And is it because I've created, you know, 5 videos on that one subject, whereas this person has created 1 video for that subject, you know? So I don't know. It was just, you know, me just kind of being curious, gauging which has more success. Because, I mean, many of you will notice that I don't really produce a lot of fresh tips these days. I'm actually thinking of maybe returning to a previous format. And, yeah, it's just, you know, because I kind of lost interest in doing it because nobody was tuning in for them. So I was like, well, if nobody's turning in for it, you know, and I mean, I've been making, like, some of you have been following my YouTube channel. I mean, like, I've been making a lot of the shorts, right? The shorts videos. And just talking about, you know, Games Workshop shit. And that gets way more traffic. Way more traffic. In fact, right now, as my analytics would show, that it is like, I think 50% of my viewership, and like high 30s is my videos, and live streaming is only like 2% of my viewership. So like doing Way the Brush, this actually gets me like no views. And in fact, how many are here right now? Yeah, there's only like 10 of us, 11 of us here right now, right? So like, even like if I'm going to put effort towards creating stuff, it only makes sense for there to be a greater return, right? So like the shorts, I can produce a whole bunch of those in a day and they get tons of views, right? Versus making a tutorial, spending days on a tutorial, and it only gets a couple views. Like, you know, is it worth it, right? My energy could be better spent elsewhere. Where the hell am I? Dark Commission. I miss your painting tutorials, but I like the start to finish figures rather than quick tips. Oh, okay. Yeah, yes. I see what you mean. Yeah, because like, well, and that's kind of in part what I'm talking about too. Like when I do the start to finish on a project, and I'll show like the base coats to the transfers and finishing the base kind of process, right? But I still break it up amongst a bunch of videos as opposed to putting it all into one video, right? That's kind of the thing I'm talking about. Yeah, the quick tips, they're meant to be individuals for the most part, right? Because initially those were intended to answer questions, right? But a lot of time people don't ask me questions anymore. So either everybody is up to the current page, right? Everybody's on the same page, or nobody needs the questions answered. Either way, right? I mean, either way, it's not getting any traffic. And I mean, like, if I am going to continue to do this, which I'm barely able to right now, I'm barely able to do it right now, okay? And yeah, I mean, like, for me to continue to do this, it needs traffic, right? It needs traffic. It has to go to other people. It has to attract other viewers. It has to attract patrons. It has to attract subscribers. It has, you know what I mean? And so, yeah. And if it's not doing it, then I might as well stop, right? Scott, I like your format of short, concise videos focused on one aspect. Then you could watch them all together. Yeah, but see, I've always avoided doing like playlists of a specific project. I've just left everything in one playlist and everything like that. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I hear you though. I mean, like, I think I like filming particular aspects of things and then just putting out the video. Although sometimes, I'll be like halfway through a miniature and I never showed how I got to that phase, and then people ask questions about how I got to that point in the first video, and it's and then so yeah, it's time consuming making this stuff. And then again, I mean, like, I put so much time into these things and then nobody watches them, and it's like, well, it was a waste of my time. It was a waste of my time, right? Because it didn't garner any views, it didn't get any new subscribers, right? It didn't get any traffic, and most importantly, it didn't get me any patrons, any new patrons. So what's the point, right? Like, what's the point of putting all of that effort into something that gets no return? So yeah. Fulgrim, you should do one by your separate videos, or do one by one separate videos, but also go through different methods. Like your hair, you can show how a few different options. Well, that's kind of what I do for quick tips. Like, if you go through the quick tips, or not quick tips, fresh tips, I've got a few videos on like doing skin, and it's various ways of doing skin, and then hair, right? And then and that's kind of what I did with the quick tip series that I had done for MWG. And like that's a huge collection of videos. That's like over 1,000 videos. So it's probably still one of the largest collections of painting tutorials out there. I'm willing to bet. And yeah. And to my way of thinking, those videos, they still hold up. I mean, sure, the production might have changed. They, higher res and different cameras, but the application of paint onto a surface hasn't changed in like fucking 500 years. And so, like, demonstrating how to paint a skull 10 years ago to now is highly unlikely to have changed, depending on what particular technique you're using, right? Because I've demonstrated using wet blending, layering, glazing, feathering, all sorts of different ways of painting. I've demonstrated it all. And, do we really need another tutorial on how to paint a skull, doing layering, using the same paints, or even just different brands of paint? Like it doesn't, see, to my way of thinking, it doesn't matter. Like, what brush, what paints, it doesn't matter. Those things don't matter. But I don't know, maybe for some it does matter. For some strange reason, I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't understand how. Yeah, you use Citadel paints here, but what about Vallejo? Like, when I see those kinds of questions and comments, I'm like, it hurts my brain because I don't understand how there's a difference, because the paints are no different. They're water-based acrylics. They're the same fucking paints. Like, I don't understand the relevance of that. Kim, people don't want to learn, they just want to be entertained. Yeah, and that's our day and age. That's the internet, right? So like I said, like the shorts videos, it's just a quick video of me talking about, you know, what's going on in GW world, right? And it gets me tons of views. Like, so why stop? Right? Like and those videos, I can post them everywhere. I can post them on Instagram, I can post them on TikTok, all over the place. I can post those videos all over the place, and just, again, it's just more eyeballs, right? My goal is to attract more patrons, because if I'm going to continue to do this, I need more patrons, because like I said, I'm barely able to do this monetarily. I'm barely able to do this. So yeah. Scott, don't discount what you do, what you can do with a dozen people, dude. Dirty Dozen. Ever heard of it? Charles Bronson Lee, Marvin, Telly Savalas. They got shit done. I've seen the movie, but I don't remember what we're talking about. Fire Drake, learnings for nerds. But see, that's the kind of person I am. I'm very concerned about education and learning, and because a lot of the problems of the world today are because fucking there's so many dum-dums walking around out there that don't have to be dum-dums. They can surpass their programming. They can grow beyond their programming. Yeah. I truly believe that. I have to believe that. Otherwise, what's the fucking point? The giant rock might as well just hit this fucking planet right now. That giant rock might as well just hit this fucking planet right now and just end it all. Because there is no fucking point. Dark Commission. I have no interest in GW, so Way the Brush is it for me at the moment. Would love to see your channel grow as it deserves to, but I have no ideas. Well, I mean, that's the thing though. I mean, like, any other channel that isn't covering Games Workshop, like even channels that don't specifically cover Games Workshop, still cover Games Workshop in some aspects, because they're the biggest, because that's where most of the traffic is. See, the name of this game of the internet and making videos on the internet is about viewership. And so you have to go where the views are. There's no way you're going to make money, you know, catering to a small group within a small group within a small group who don't want to spend any money, right? You're not going to grow. So, just a thing. But anyway. Dark Commission. Well, one idea might be to diversify away from GW and go for other game mini systems. Right, but it doesn't get me views. Because I've done it. Yeah, I mean, I've done it. Man, I've been at this game since 2011. I've been doing this since 2011, professionally, since 2011. And covering anything other than Games Workshop shit gets no views. Maybe the BattleTech. That's about it. I'd probably cover BattleTech just because that's the only other thing that stands out as far, and it's not even a huge amount of views. But it gets better than anything else I've covered. So yeah, it's got to be Games Workshop because that's the biggest market of people who love it and people who hate it. But you put those together, and that is a huge viewing pool. That's the name of this game. This game I play is not Warhammer. The game I play is views. Fire Drake. Collaboration with other channels will help to let people know you're out there. But if you try OnlyFans, I can donate a lot of baby oil. And you know what? I am running low on baby oil. I am running low. It's dangerously low. My supply is dangerously low. Yeah, you never know. Old Kris might have to go out there on OnlyFans and posting more pictures of my feet or whatever. My hobbit feet. Anyway, Sophie, you do good content for your hurt clips on Tik2 are great. Sophie, I swear to God, you're typing this on your phone, right? That's why these sentence structures are so like this. This sentence is hurting my brain. You do good content. Your hurt clips on Tik2 are great. Well, thank you, Sophie. I think I understand what you're saying there, but yeah. Might suggest teasers on TikTok too. Little shout outs to what you're doing to post and project you'll be working on. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. That's a really good idea. I've considered something like that. Just quickly talking about, like what I'm doing for that week, or if I'm putting up tutorials, or, See, unfortunately, the thing is that I'm not sure of the cross-pollination between viewerships, right? It's kind of like YouTube and Twitch, which is why I stream to both at the same time. Because there's people who really don't like YouTube's live. Why? I don't know. And there's people on YouTube who don't care for Twitch. I don't know why, but whatever. You'd think that people who like live streams would be hanging out on Twitch catching live streams that they don't get on Twitch, right? But that's not really the case. And I'm not really sure why that is. Why is there people who seem to have it in their brain that no, I only watch live streams on Twitch. I don't watch those on YouTube. And it's just like the shorts videos on YouTube. No, I only like the 1-minute videos on TikTok. Right? And if there's a longer video, it's fucking people are weird is what I'm saying. People are weird. People are just fucking weird. Anyway, Jabba's Left Nut. To get more patrons, you have to put more behind a paywall. If people can get your goods for free, they ain't going to pay. True. Very true. That is very, very true. And I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Because I have felt bad for the last year or so, really. Because one of the perks of supporting me on Patreon was early access to videos. But unfortunately, the way my current system works is that I can't show you the videos of stuff I create until the release date. Right? Because then I'm in a breach. So I can't do it. And they go up the day of. You know what I mean? And it'd be really, really nice if I could post those kind of things just for my patrons to let them know what I'm working on. Right? But I can't. As per. So, yeah. And I mean, like, as things are right now, I mean, man, it's all I got. Again, it's all about getting those views, getting those eyeballs, and yeah, which is why I'm seriously considering turning on YouTube memberships. It basically mirrors Patreon. It's basically YouTube cutting in on Patreon's action, right? And I'm seriously considering turning it on but I don't want it to take away from the Patreon. But the Patreon seems like a separate entity as opposed to YouTube, which it makes more sense, especially because most of my viewership is on YouTube, to turn on memberships, because then it's just a simple click, right? If you're already set up for that kind of transaction on YouTube, it's a click, bang, done, and now you have access to all the membership stuff, right? So, yeah. It's just, but again, I don't want to turn it on and it takes away from the Patreon, right? And then I've been, because like Patreon, initially they had this merch thing where basically they'll handle the merch side of things for t-shirts, mugs, stuff like that. And I've wanted to turn it on, but it's a pretty big cut they take. Now I realize a lot of the overhead is on their end, so, but yeah, there was a bunch of hoops to turn that on for Patreon, and I haven't done it just because it's just I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, Sophie, you and the missus could always do those funny voiceover married life clips. They make me laugh. We've talked about it, but the thing is though, like, there's a video. I don't know. No, I don't think it's still on my phone, but it's a recording of a conversation. Because late at night is when we relax. I eat a brownie. The wife smokes. And sometimes when she's right into it, holy man, it's a fucking Cheech and Chong show for sure. And but some of the shit we talk about is like, no, this is the kind of stuff that I don't think should ever see the light of day. No. Get canceled. So yeah, Sophie, I mean, we have considered it. And in fact, even my son, he's started to actually posting TikToks. My son has posted TikToks. If you find, I think it's Alex Belleau. And he's been posting his video game clips. And yeah, he's actually getting quite a bit of traction on them. It's video games. Video games is very popular. Like anything, which is why you probably see some mini painters and war gamers and stuff. They'll do live streams of them playing video games because it gets more views. That's why they do it, because it gets more views, because video game content is a bigger viewership because it's views, it's bigger views, right? But anyway. Kim, that's a good idea, Sophie. Sergio does that. Put on stuff on shorts that shows what he does in videos on YouTube and Patreon. Yeah. I mean, making a quick little preview, I suppose. I mean, I've also wanted to do more written tutorials as well. And I actually was thinking about this last night. One of those things that keeps me up at night. Basically kind of streamlining a process for tutorials. And I may, because I also have another thing I want to get started on that I haven't gotten started on any serious consideration or any serious work on yet. It's really just more or less outlines and table of contents, and I'll leave it at that. Fire Drake. Marvel Crisis Protocol is a great game to cover low interest and not so many people covering it compared to 40k. Non-GW skirmish games are low cost entry as well to do well. Yeah, again, Marvel Crisis, yeah, that's one of those popular ones. War Machine, is it making a comeback? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I see some Marvel Crisis Protocol does come across my feed, but it doesn't, like, it's only a couple in comparison to all the other channels out there. But those channels that cover the Marvel and, Flames of War and, all these other different games, they still cover Games Workshop. And if you look at their channels, the shit that they're covering the Games Workshop product stuff on has more views. If you go to their channel and look at their feeds and like their uploads, and you look at how many views that their videos have, you'll see like the Marvel Crisis might have 1,000 views, whereas they just quickly talk about something Games Workshop and it has twice as many views. What are you supposed to do in that? I realize it's also the algorithm that determines this stuff as well. What content gets pushed to people. And unfortunately, you know, it's the algorithm, man. It's the algorithm. We pray to the algorithm gods. Fire Drake. I think it not really the content, but directing people to your channel. Oi, jeez Louise. Strata Miniatures. Thank you for the follow, Strata. Thank you. Welcome. Oh, it's gone. It's gone. Just like my mustache. It's gone. Get over it. Rick Rogers. I can't be bothered to spend time to set up a Twitch account. I'm too old, and who knows how long I've got left. Jeez. That's grim, bud. That's grim. Understandable. But grim. But yeah, and that's another thing, right? I mean, like, there's people on YouTube who are just, you know, kind of grandfathered in and are not interested in watching live streams on Facebook or Twitch or TikTok or Instagram, or, you know what I mean? Like, all these various platforms, because basically all those platforms are all doing the same thing and they're all imitating each other, right? Instagram, I think, is probably the biggest loser. Maybe Facebook as well. TikTok, for short format videos, is dominating, right? Twitch used to be the live stream, but slowly YouTube is gaining some serious ground on it. I noticed some channels only stream on, like, who do live streams, only stream on YouTube now. And yeah, but they all pretty much do the same thing, except maybe Twitch. But Twitch just seems kind of slow to adapt anyway. But like, YouTube has borrowed a lot of things from Twitch, and they're slowly getting better at doing things that Twitch used to do. TikTok, right? It used to only be a couple minute videos, right? Because they were copying what, Vine, I think it was. I never did Vine. With like 15-second video clips, and then they went to a minute, then they went to 3 minutes, and now on TikTok you can do 10-minute videos. Well, that's pretty much YouTube at that point, if you can watch a 10-minute video, because YouTube finds that a video that's at least 8 minutes to 10 minutes is that perfect viewing range, according to YouTube. That's the perfect viewing range for a video. So if you notice that a lot of channels only produce 8 to 10 minute long videos, that's why, because it's YouTube's recommendation that videos only be that length. So, yeah. Again, we're all trying to appease the algorithm gods. As content creators, yeah. And it's, you know, on YouTube though, see, like on YouTube, discoverability is kind of tough. Twitch, it's complete garbage. TikTok, for whatever reason, discoverability seems really easy for people to find your content. Yeah, it seems really easy that YouTube or TikTok will just, yeah, you like this? Here it is, bang. Oh, you want more of that? Bang, 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 bang. You know what I mean? And because of how fast you can go through a TikTok, you know, playlist, yeah, people will find your content really fast versus like YouTube. Because most people are watching the long format, and people don't really watch a lot of the shorts, despite me talking about how well my shorts do. But that's in comparison to my other videos, which get no fucking views. Like, a lot of my videos are very, very low in comparison to even, like, okay, like even talking about Necromunda, right? Necromunda video, somebody else's channel, same day kind of thing, bang, has thousands and thousands of views. Mine, 10. You know? And yeah, I have no idea why that is. I have no idea. Talking about the same thing, playing the same thing, right? So, anyway. Let's head over to the Instagrams. Because we can and we shall. Which one do I usually do for Instagram? This one? Yeah, this one. Here we go. Alrighty. Zen painting. Oh, they're doing the Way of the Brush hashtag. That's why. That's very nice, though. I have no idea what that says. Anybody who's fluent in Japanese, calligraphies, reading, writing, yeah, let me know. I always like these little stamps. I've often considered imitating that for some of my line work. You know what? I'm going to give them a like. just because. This one's from our good buddy, the Wannabe Painter. Plaguecaster for my Death Guard is done. Did a little kit bash. What I thought was cool. Nothing fancy overall, but as always, a good table standard, I guess. No, it looks good. That's actually a really great head. That's a really great head for a plague guy. His brains are busting out of his skull. I kind of wish there was more veins. I wish it was a little bit more veiny. Really nice work on the rust on his standard. That's really cool. It's an interesting juxtaposition between the plague and the flowers. It's very interesting. It's very Nurgle. Yep, very cool. Oh, we didn't give that a like. Whoops. There we go. Now we gave it a like. Kevin Cabal! Raoul Parthaminch's elf hero on foot. From the personalities and things that go bump in the night range. Sculpted by the master, Tom Mayer. Meyer? This little guy has several releases and was also called Elf Superhero and Elf Commander. There is also a mounted version available. Apparently, having a giant butterfly on your helm is a sign of rank for these elves. Well, of course. The miniature is 25mm scale and has the usual Tom Mayer touches of tiny detail and a great face sculpt. Painted for a collector with Vallejo and Citadel paints based on Gamer's Grass and Woodland Scenics products. Very cool. Yeah, I like the base. Nice armor. Yeah, nice work on the face. That's really good. And yeah, butterflies. There's nothing more manly than sporting a butterfly as your symbol of office. I mean, butterflies are badass. In fact, I'd probably have a dragonfly. I'd have a dragonfly because dragonflies are badass. They gobble up all sorts of other insects. They're deadly. They're actually, like, okay, to go off on a slight thing. Butterflies, I didn't know this, but butterflies actually, when they're chasing down prey, they actually intercept their prey. They anticipate where their prey is going, and they'll grab them. Isn't that interesting? Oh, look at this. This is from Alex. Been a while since I've taken photos of finished projects, and I just got a new phone/camera, so here are a couple of characters. I really like the chest. I like the gradient you got going on in there. I like the touch of purple, the green, the lime green, I should say, yellow green. Yeah, look at that. Yeah. Oh, look at this guy, Alpha Legion. Alpha Legion is such a good color scheme. I assume this is Horus Heresy. Looks too clean to be, 40k. It looks 30k. Yeah, really nice work. Yeah, man. Yeah, really good stuff. I think I would probably put a matte varnish on that cloak. Do it by hand. Thin. Or unless it's not done. If it's not done, then carry on. Just to help create some separation, like the cloth bits, yeah, I would put a matte on them. Just so that armor, it doesn't take anything from the armor being shiny. Know what I mean? This is from our good buddy Disco Mini Painter. Work in progress, starting to take shape now. Bolt action, modular board. Don't worry about the red blob. It's how I'm basing the rubble piles. It will all get covered in rubble and wood, etc. Oh, okay. The red thing. I don't know what he's talking about. Oh, maybe it's another picture. I like the distribution of that rubble. It looks realistic. I would assume that you're using some reference photos, and if you're not, I would highly recommend it. And if you're into reference photos, well, on Kim's orders, we started a channel for reference and inspiration on the Discord. So feel free to share what inspires you, because I'm sure there are other hobbyists out there who are working on similar projects and might not be aware of your motivations on some of this. Oh, the red blob. Oh, is that just kind of like to flush it out, so you don't have to build up huge piles? You can just like use that abstract shape and then just attach the debris. Is that what you're doing? Yeah, that's what you're doing. Yeah, I dig it. I like how you spill out from what looks like the base. Are these attached to the table? Are these being fixed to the table? Or are they the base? I don't know. What's the plan? I really like your rubble, though. Is that like a broken table or bathtub or something there? Looking at all this stuff, though, makes me want to start like Bolt Action or Flames of War or something. Which is better, Bolt Action or Flames of War? Flames of War is smaller scale, right? Bolt Action is a little bit bigger. Maybe it was Bolt Action. I can't remember. The Wannabe Painter. My lately Kit Bash Lord of Virulence is done. It was hard to take good pictures of the model because of its shape and my too bright lighting. Had fun with all the weathering and the building. I think it's a good table standard, and I'm overall with the outcome. You're overall with the outcome? Okay. The eyes immediately stand out. Whatever you did, that really dark orb, and it just looks, clear, as opposed to like how, melded colors are here. It's a conversion, right? It's Kit Bash. Yeah, it's Kit Bash. So I was looking at that hand. I'm like, oh, what is that hand from? The rust is really good. Is the hand from like... I almost want to say that hand is from like a Terrorgeist or something. Like something from the Age of Sigmar... what are they called? The Soul Stealer Vampire Guides things. I like the way the eyes are in kind of like sharp contrast to how melded everything else feels. And it brings immediate attention to the eyes. I think that's very, very interesting. Because like how the colors are all kind of like working together and melded, and you have like the greens and the browns, you have that slight greenish tinge to the patina on the bronze, but then the eyes are just so stark and immediately draws you in. It's like a fly. It's like that moment in The Fly, when he turns around, he's got the fly eyeballs hanging on. Yeah, that's freaky, man. That's good stuff. Oops, did I hit 2? Nope. Whoops. Oh, are we done? Because, yeah, we looked at these. Oh, I didn't give these a like. Oops. The Pink Captain. 2 rhinos for the World Eaters. Okay, well, apparently I didn't like it. I didn't give it a like, so let's have a look. I know we were talking last episode. I know the Pink Captain was talking about their World Eaters and getting them done for a game. Yeah. He was getting them done in, like, 2 days or something like that. That's crazy. Oh yeah, and Kim's Volkswagen. Very, very cool. Oh, we've already seen these. Oh. Damn it. Yeah, really nice work on that Necron. And Disco. Yeah. Feel free to post in the Discord. Inspiration for the ruined buildings, provided that none of the pictures have too many corpses or things like that in them. Not that I'm worried about that. It's just you know what I mean. Where am I in the comments? I don't know. Sophie, could you make anything from one-on-one and a section on members only website with links to your stuff member only tutorial live stream too. What? Q&A. Could you make anything from a one-on-one and a section on members only website with links to your stuff members only tutorial live stream too? Doing members only live streams, I'm pretty sure there is a way to do it. I could not tell you. See, again, because primarily I do a lot of my work on YouTube, and YouTube has been making the more and more tools available for, all these things of, not paywalls, but, paywalls essentially. It would all be self-contained on YouTube essentially, right? So, yeah, which again, I'm basically being pressured into, just going strictly YouTube and not producing for anybody else, really. Because again, on Twitch, I'm sure I probably only have a few people on Twitch. Yeah, it's only a few. So again, if there's no viewership, right, and there's no return, then why continue to do it, right? You got to put your energy towards what you get a return from. There's no sense in wasting your time and energy, even for things that you're passionate about, right? Especially if you're going to make a serious go of, being professional and, making a living at this, right? Because again, this is about my livelihood. I could make videos on anything. I could completely leave the hobby and talk about politics, science, anything, right? And I probably would grow my channel faster than this Warhammer stuff. So, something else to consider. Fire Drake. I'll be right back. Got to shower and get some of this baby oil off. Jesus. Sophie, I like the buildings. They look great. Yeah. The buildings, I know. Disco has been doing a lot of World War II stuff, and a while back, Disco was getting into a lot more dioramas and stuff like that. And so, yeah. And of course, his work is always getting better and better and better. Every time I see it, it's like, wow, so much more attention to detail. Like those buildings, those look like the MDF pre-made, like laser cut. But obviously he's taken it to another level, and he's adding floorboards and debris and all sorts of stuff. And I fully encourage that. I think it's fantastic. It's great to get that kind of that scale and realism, right? Kim, if olive oil is made by squeezing olives, sunflower oil is made by squeezing sunflower seeds, what is it they make baby oil? Well, they squeeze babies, obviously. Everybody knows that, Kim. They don't do that in Norway? Come on, man. Of course, they just wring those little suckers right out. Just, Dark Commission. Baby oil in showers is a fractured skull in the making. True. Very true. Very true. Very, very, very true. Yeah, well, because I'm sure, as you know, Kim, that making baby oils and wringing out babies, it only makes sense because the bones are still soft, so you're still able to get a good grip and just wring the little bugger right out, right? And because most babies typically don't have a lot of hair on them, there's not a lot of extra filtration needed. You don't have to have the strainer or the like a coffee filter or anything like that. You can just wring those little buggers right out, grab another one, wring them out, and because they are so plump, right? If you ever bitten into an apple that was really ripe and juicy, you think, wow, how did that little apple contain so much water? Babies are exactly the same way, right? Because they spend essentially 9 months, give or take, just floating around in their own fluids, right? It's like a fine wine, and they develop, and that baby oil matures, and so when they're they're extracted and you wring them out, yeah, it's really good stuff. And Johnson & Johnson actually are the biggest company to corner the market essentially on this whole enterprise of extracting the oil from babies. And I know that there were some groups in the past that were protesting their treatment, and I think once legislation was passed on properly overseeing how they go about it, they managed to really turn a new leaf and do something more ethical with the ringing of their babies. And I think everybody wins at that point, right? I'm just saying. It's a best practices kind of thing. I don't even know how long I could have kept that going for. But it makes sense though, doesn't it? It does make sense. Oh shit. Sophie, don't you dare stop making Way the Brush. It's my highlight on my Saturdays. Well, and that's the thing, right? Is like this show is basically the backbone of the channel, right? Because this channel is named Way the Brush. This, right, is because my channel was just my name before, but I did Way the Brush on here, and yeah, it kind of is. And I enjoy this, even though there's only a few of us hanging out. Sometimes it varies. It all depends, right? It all depends on what people got going on and what have you. But anyway, yeah, I have no plans on stopping this. There's times where, man, it was like only a couple of us in here, still did it. I think for me, because essentially I'm just sitting here by myself talking to myself. I have no idea if you people are real that are making comments. It could be bots for all I know. I've been sitting here talking to bots for all these years. I'm sure some of you are bots, but anyway. But anyway, yeah, so. Oh, man. Dark Commission, yeah, Way the Brush, see me through some tough times. Yeah, I know. And most of the time I do try to, not bring a positive message, just a bit more level-headed. I'm not really huge on hype and, stuff like that. And, because it never ages well. It never ages well. Eric Fountain, good morning, Kris and Monkeys. What did I walk into? Oh, talking about the extraction of baby oil? Anyway, Kim, just like pushing the Fontelli on the baby's head to make them go to sleep. Oh, Jesus. That's awful. That's funny, but it's awful. Oh, shit. Jumps Left Nut, episode 391. The best way to extract all a baby's juice. There we go. That's it. That's the title. All of a baby's juice. You got to wring those little buggers out for all they're worth. And then, of course, they had the gall way back like 100 years ago to introduce, labor laws that, you couldn't extract too much juice from a baby and, have them working in coal mines and, shit like that, right? It's criminal. It's criminal what they did. All these laws. Oh, man. Vigo Newberg. Hey, handsome. Chat. What's up? Well, thank you. We're just talking about how they extract baby oil. Talking about how they extract baby oil, the lengthy process, and how, people fought a long time ago to safeguard against the mistreatment of babies as the oil is being extracted, right? So, yeah. Kim, I love this community, so we need the Way of the Brush to continue forever. Forever. Well, one day I will move on to the spirit world, so it can't be forever. I mean, the replays could play forever, I suppose, but it's kind of like Bob Ross, Bob Ross is still everywhere, even though the man died like 20 years ago. Charles Ellington, everyone is a bot. Yeah, everyone's a bot. I'm pretty sure. In fact, Charles, I'm even more convinced you're a bot. Dark Commission, episode 391. I prefer my babies organic and freshly squeezed. Yeah. Organic babies, fresh off the vine. Oh shit. Fulcrum's boy puss. Email time. Is it email time? Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. Yeah, we got 22 minutes left, and yeah, I've already got an email sitting here. I don't know what's going on here. I just got an email from Gal. Oh. I thought it was going to be something else, Gal. I thought that email was going to say something else or have different kinds of pictures in it because the way you titled that. Dark Commission. I have a new laser cutter engraver, so if anyone needs a bad tattoo removed, geez. Yeah, that'll do it, right? Because that's all they use to remove tattoos these days, the laser. And you know what? It could probably draw it really well for you too, right? Sophie, come back as a ghost and carry on, Kris, LOL, or become an AI program. Well, they speculate, honestly, that within our lifetimes that they will work out the capacity to transfer human consciousness to a digital format. I think that is that will be the death of humanity. Whether or not it's a good or a bad thing, who knows? But yeah, who knows, right? Would you want, okay, serious question time. Would you prefer to pass on or become a AI consciousness? Well, you wouldn't be artificial, would you? Would you be considered artificial if you were an actual person that was downloaded into a computer? Would you be considered AI? Would you just be I? But what if you're a dum-dum? What if you're a dum-dum and you get transferred? You're just like really, really wealthy. Because that's the first people who are going to get it, right? Is the really wealthy people are going to be the first to take advantage of that technology and download themselves into a computer. And from what I can tell, a lot of these really wealthy people are dum-dums. And so could you even label them intelligence? If they were digital, what would that be called? What would you call a person who was transferred consciousness to digital format? Because they're not AI, because they're not artificial. They were an actual person at one point. Would they even truly be themselves? Is there a moment when you, as the real person, the flesh and blood, chemical reactions and electricity, become the digital? Is there a moment where the two exist simultaneously? What then? Yeah, we're going off the deep end again. Kim, I'm going to start airbrushing the car body for the 1303 Beetle now. Got to give it a coat of Mr. Surfacer 1000. Mr. Surfacer 1000? That's Mystery Science Theater 3000. And then go over with a blue metallic I'm going to use tomorrow coat in a 2K varnish. What's a 2K varnish? Oh, What's a 2K varnish? Dark Commission. Wouldn't like to end up in a hell sim like in one of Liam and Banks' novels. I'm not familiar. Interesting. Sophie. Could have your essence download into a robot body. Very cyberpunk theme. Now, see, yeah, getting put into a robot body, sure, right? But I mean, like, if you exist as a digital consciousness and you were just like in a massive mainframe, you were just occupying a section of a mainframe, what would stop you from transferring your consciousness to another mainframe, to another storage device, right? And then comes the question, what if your digital consciousness could occupy other regions within the mainframe? What if you took up more of the mainframe and you basically were deleting other consciousness, right? Some sort of digital murder. And it's interesting. These are because, again, they say this is going to be within our lifetime. So Sophie, you're going to see it when probably in your middle ages. Me, I'll probably be an old man, old man. So it's interesting. Dark Commission. I have real memories of at least 2 past lives, so I want to see what's next. And no, I wasn't Napoleon. Yeah, Dark Commission. Are you a past lives kind of person? Reincarnation? You believe in reincarnation? Really? Interesting. Kim, it's a 2-component car varnish, polyurethane based. Smells like a motherfucker. Yeah, I'm sure. It's how I get my car model so shiny, using real car varnish. Yeah, you might as well, right? Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, post pics when you're done. I'm sure you will, but post pics. All right. Before I download my consciousness, let's get to an email. If you're wearing headphones, turn them up or down because... oh, excuse me. Fuck. I sound like I'm drunk. Morty, you gotta help me. Here it comes. Email time. Email time. Oh, it's done. Fuck. This one's from our good buddy Scott Radum. It's a 54mm dude. Finish this guy up. Lots of hours. Some successes. Some areas not the best. It's done though. Since it's a bigger mini, it needs a pretentious title. I call it Never Give Up. Ever. We can pretend it is deeper meaning about enjoying the challenges and frustrations of improving a skill can bring. We can pretend that it is just being the random title of a newspaper I printed out. Thanks for taking a look. Fire away any crits, and remember, no matter how hard things get, never give up. Ever. So this is a 54mm. I think we got a preview. I like the newspaper. That's really good. Here we go. Yeah. So it's a 54mm that Scott has painted. I really dig it. I'm taking it all in a moment here. I'm really drawn by the newspaper. I really like that touch. It definitely gets you into this sense that this is like a alternate World War II kind of thing, right? Like we're in an alternate timeline kind of thing. I noticed that it's painted in a similar fashion to the way you normally paint figures, but because of its scale, it feels like you didn't push the contrast quite as hard, right? Because it's bigger. And I think that's the right move. Not pushing the contrast too hard, like on the armor plates. Because I noticed, like, if this was like a 28mm or a heroic scale, you would have pushed that contrast more severely in a particular direction, right? But because it's a little bit larger, It doesn't feel like that. On the non-metallic metal bits, like the gun, which I think is excellent. Like that looks like blue steel. Like that looks like gun steel. That's really good. The only thing I would ask questions about is the hoses that connect up to the head and the helmet. The helmet feels not as treated as anything else, but maybe it's the angle. Let me switch angles here. No, I love this touch of the newspapers. I really like that. That's really great. Yeah, see, like the helmet doesn't feel like it's gotten the attention that it needed. And the hoses that connect up to his helmet, they don't have that same level. Like you've done those highlights on the front part of those hoses, but the parts that go up to his helmet don't feel like they had as much attention to them. No, but see, you did highlight it, because I can see your work on it. I mean, it's really great work. I mean, that's only if I'm being, like, you know, critical of it, right? I really like your highlighting on the mask too, like the mouth breather part. Mouth breather, you know what I mean. Oh, there's no more pictures? Oh, I wanted more pictures. I wanted a full rear view. Yeah, I wanted to see his bum. I can't get into a mini unless I see the bum. Thanks, Scott, for sending that in. It's fantastic. Yeah, the hoses that connect up to the helmet, and that helmet, like the helmet, I could see it was highlighted, but it feels very flat in comparison to the highlighting scheme you've gone for everything else. And I'm just kind of wondering, like, using the same colors you did, couldn't you have highlighted it like you did with the gun and gave it that bit more of that non-metallic metal treatment? Right? Or is it something that's not captured in the camera? And it is there, it's just the way the picture is. It's very, very, but I guess really the big question is what was your greatest takeaway from doing that scale of a figure? Kim, it looks great. Scott is not here today. No, Scott's here. Yeah, Scott. Yeah, sorry, fell asleep. Woke up to the email. The helmet stumped me. I wanted a rubber. Oh, okay. Okay. See, I get it now. Yeah, because now that you mentioned that it was rubber, because typically the helmets, right, especially like that style of helmet, because that looks a bit like the German type of helmet, like from World War II, and typically they weren't rubber, not to my knowledge anyway. And so I was looking at that, expecting it to see it painted like it's metal, but because you were treating it like it was like something that diffuses more light, like rubber, that makes more sense why it looks flat. Yeah, okay. I get it. Yeah, the helmet stumped me. I wanted a rubber look on the top part, the white breathing part, to stick out against each other. Right. Yeah. No, I think if you would have done it like you did the gun, I think it still would have worked well. I think it still would have worked well. And just even doing the helmet, because I noticed like the helmet, obviously you use different values to highlight it versus what you would did for the gun. And I'm not saying like highlight the helmet like the gun, only the highlighting scheme, not the colors actually used. And yeah, I think you could have done it like metal, painted it like metal, and it would have been fine, because the starkness of that white of the helmet wouldn't have killed it. And in fact, even if you were that concerned about it, you still could have pushed those highlights, but not as far as that face mask, right? Because that face mask, it really draws the eye in, right? Like For me personally, I kind of actually started at the feet. I started at the newspaper, and then I worked my way right to immediately to this head, right? Of course, some people probably immediately to the head and then work their way down, right? Either way, that's the journey of viewing the model, right? And so, yeah. No, it's very, very, very good. I enjoy it. I think, you know, it's a really great example of your work. Yeah. Now that you had said that's kind of what you were envisioning for that, how the flatness is makes sense. So yeah, it's not typically what you see, but again, that's kind of like where we're at with miniature painting. I feel that with certain surfaces, you're expected to paint them a certain way, right? Like, you don't imagine painting a normal, typical Primaris Space Marine to have a fur texture, right? You typically don't see that. At least I haven't. I don't know if somebody's seen a Primaris Space Marine, just a default regular plastic Space Marine, but painted so that armor looks like it's a layer of fur. Please share that with me, because I have not seen that. You know what I mean? So like, there's certain expectations from a surface, and when you paint it, you're going to get that. No. And see, and now that you mentioned that it is rubber, I see it more as rubber now. Like, even I'm not looking at the picture anymore, but I mean, like, I can still see it, and it makes sense how, yeah, an actual rubber surface would not reflect much light. And like, you know, like, I remember them old, you know, rubber balls, like for ball hockey and stuff, right? That rubber is just absorbed light. They're just like practically just darkness. It's dark matter almost. No, I dig it, Scott. I dig it. Scott, I agree with the hoses in the helmet. Never really figured what material I wanted the hoses to be. Yeah, see, and the thing is that the way you did the hoses are kind of typical of what we see from, like, you know, a lot of the Games Workshop paint jobs, where the hoses kind of have like this slick appearance, and so they're given very abrupt highlights. Versus if you would have done the hoses like how you treated the helmet, to, you know, not to reflect as much light, and then the helmet was a bit more reflective looking, you know, I think it would have read as more of rubber hoses, right? Because because now that you mentioned that the hoses that connect up to the head, if your goal was to make them look like rubber, but the hoses that run lengthwise down the body were rubber as well, see, again, it made it look like you just didn't spend time on it. Whereas, yeah, I get where the conundrum was. Yeah. But either way, I think the biggest thing is that, did you have fun? Do you feel like you learned something? Would you do it again? Fulgrim, I'm going for Ravengard and Order of the Sacred Rose for my diorama. Cool. Scott Radham, greatest takeaway is a 54 mil should be less contrasty than a 28 mil, I think. I will do more bigger scale pieces. Yeah. It's kind of like scale modeling. Scale modeling, there's not a lot of, it's really more about, you know, getting a smooth layer down, as opposed to laying like a lot of color down, right? It's about creating that texture, you know, even painted or simulated, right? Through use of pigments, like dry pigments, or painting, you know, the rust or whatever, right? You start getting into a lot of that kind of stuff, creating these microscopic type of textures, which is one of my favorite ways of creating rust on a model, is using dry pigments, because it gives you that microscopic texture on that surface that looks like actual rust on the surface, right? It's just one of those things. It's my way of looking at it, mainly because, you know, I flip-flop between painting things like miniatures and painting things like scale modeling, right? Depending on my mood and how far I want to spend, you know. The idea of spending a lot of time on a color blend really does not interest me. I like spending a lot of time on models like spending hundreds of hours to get a face just right. For my own personal collection, no. If I was doing for a competition, sure. But again, that's why I don't really do competition pieces, because, you know, I'm not interested in spending a lot of time on a model. You know, it's just not something that excites me. But also assembling a bunch of models also doesn't excite me about this hobby either. I don't like the idea of like the Horus Heresy box and having a complete Space Marine army in that box. Great, but yeah, assembling all those models, especially because those studded shoulder pads are 2 halves, like that completely kills my boner right there. Dark Commission. Larger scales encourage vignettes and diorama making, which is not a bad thing. It's more creative. I think they're all creative. I think when you get into like the busts, because I know Dark Commission, you've done busts and stuff like that in the past, and maybe Scott, maybe that's the next realm that you get into, is maybe some of the busts. You know, yeah. Scott, the newspapers took like 5 seconds, some watered down contrast, yellow and grime over printed out newspaper. Yeah. Oh yeah. Just age it up a bit. Fire Drake, and he's back squeaky and clean in all the nooks and crannies, especially the crannies. Kim, I painted Space Marine armory that's a normal Chaos Space Marine like it was scales, and I done stitches too. Yes, you have done stitches. I've seen that. But like, I'm saying like, it's not typical, right? Like when we're painting Space Marine armor, to effectively make the viewer believe that they're looking at a different surface, right? And creating those textures. You know, it's just not typical. And I guess I guess it really would have been a huge win for, say, for example, Scott, if I immediately got that it was rubber. That was his intention, was to make it rubber. I don't know how he could have immediately sold me on that's rubber. That surface is rubber. Because again, the way human brain works, right? You see that surface 1,000,000 times. You expect it to be that surface, right? And so when you change what that material is supposedly supposed to be, right? Your expectations don't ever really go there. So, yeah. Again, I've talked about this in the past, like, you know, the limits of these concepts on painting miniatures and stuff like that, and you know, the paint by numbers nature of it all. But anyway, next email is from. Shit, did I just crap this out? No. Commander Shadow Sun. This is Shadow Ninja. Hey, Kris. It's been a while. I was wondering if I could get your help on the next mini project. I want to make an awesome base for my Tau Commander Shadow Sun. I want to have so effing different from the vanilla out of the box Shadow Sun. I was thinking of replacing the stone Imperial piece she stands on with possibly some Tyranids trying to jump up at her. I'm concerned it won't look cool. I'm also concerned about how to attach her. I have included some pictures. If you can help, that would be great. Maybe your followers might have some ideas. Okay, so everybody who has ideas, please feel free to share in the comments. Okay, so Commander Shadow Sun. She's standing on that Imperial wreckage. But he doesn't want it. Oh, he wants a bunch of Tyranids around. Now, do you want it? Are you looking to just make like a bigger base with the Tyranids? Because, like, if I'm gauging by this, or are you looking to remove that stone piece and make it a Tyranid? I think if you do that, if you have a spare back carapace to like a Carnifex or Turvagon or any of those big models, because they often have a lot of extra bits on them, and use that and see if you can kind of mock up, you know, like a dead Tyranid. And you can have her jumping off a dead Tyranid. Now, you could simply just glue her into place, but again, if I don't know if you are looking to spend a lot of time on the paint job, yeah, I would free her from that stone. I don't know if that leg is attached to that piece or if they're separate, but free that leg from that piece. The back of a Tyranid, change the angle of it. Don't just set it straight down. That'll be kind of straightforward and boring. I think a tilted angle would be much more interesting, especially if you can make it look like, say, the Tyranid is buried in the ground. Maybe it's a dead, you know, it's a corpse that's been sitting there for a bit, or you can have other bits of Tyranids around it, so it's like it's a big mound of kind of Tyranid bits that she's jumping off of. I don't know if you need all the Tervagons or Homogons, really, is what in that second picture. But yeah, I would use probably like some of those extra, if you have the extra bits, or if you can, you know, work out a deal with a friend or whatever to get some extra bits. But I would go with the back piece of like a Carnifex or the Tervagon, something big like that, to fit that base. Because I really wouldn't want to change the base size, because if you game with the model, then you're going to change that base size, and that does change how it performs on the tabletop, right? Some would say making a larger base for a character is gaming for advantage. But anyway. Yeah, so I think getting a back piece, maybe an extra head, right? Make up some bits that look like the arms, give the body so it's not like sitting straight on the base like this, but like it's tilted over, or like it's kind of on its side and it died kind of thing, right? And then you throw in some extra gaunt bits or other Tyranid bits around if you want to make it like a really kind of full kind of, you know, like a diorama of just corpses on her base. Remounting her, if you paint them separately, I would highly recommend pinning the two parts. Just drill and put a thin piece of brass wire inside the contact point, drill a little bit, just a couple millimeters into her foot, and then once it's time to glue her together, you know, you glue it together, use CA glue, you paint them separately and then glue them together. If you want to just paint it all as one and you don't want to bother with pinning, then you could just simply clear off a contact point. So like if the bottom of her foot is this flat surface, then you got to make a flat surface on that Tyranid. Now you got the tricky part is getting those parts to line up, right? So that you maintain that angle that she's at. So that's not like she's leaning too forward, too back. You know what I mean? Like her, you want to try and keep her as she's originally composed with that back piece, right? And so you just kind of just wear down, shave it, file it down, whatever you got to do, sand it, make that plane flat. Score both ends, use a bit of plastic cement, styrene plastic, and you glue the two parts together, and you're done. But yeah, that's pretty much how I would go about it. If I wanted to have her so it looked like she was beating up on Tyranids, yeah, that's pretty much how I'd go about it. If that's the way we're thinking. Oh man, where am I? Fire Drake. Like maybe a flame blasting a Tyranid in the face as she's fired up her propulsion jets? Or maybe I misunderstood. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, no, that's another way. Because, yeah, I know there's a company out there who is doing 3D printable effects for models. And maybe they have one, like a jet propulsion thing that's, you know, and she looks like she's taken off. Could do that as well, yeah. I can't remember the name of the company. If anybody can tell me the company... Oh, I follow them on Instagram. They do 3D printed effects for miniatures. They do like smoke, gun blasts, and stuff like that, explosions. I can't think of the name. But anyway, yeah, that's another idea, yeah. I mean, maybe that's closer to what Shadow Ninja is thinking. But anyway, yeah, if anybody else has any ideas, feel free to comment down below. And yeah, tag Shadow Ninja if need be. I think it's pretty fun though. I think it's a fun idea. But yeah, that'd be about the easiest way I think to go about it. I mean, if it has to be, it just says some Tyranids, but I mean, like, it kind of sounds like he wanted like Tyranids kind of running up, and that feels a bit more of a diorama. I don't know how you would achieve that with. I mean, you could do it with just a bunch of gaunts, like using 3 gaunts, but you would have to lop them off. So like one would be just the head and maybe just like an arm. Another one would be a little bit more, and then another one would be coming up, like, you know what I mean? And then she would be like, her foot would be touching one of the gaunts, you know, like she's jumping off of them, and you could do it that way as well. It's a little bit more work. It would still be just as secure. I wouldn't do it off like any of their claws. I'd probably do it off one of their heads so that it was off the main body, and, you know. Yeah, the easiest way I can think of is the using the back of a Carnifex or Tervagon or something like that. Tervagon might be actually too big now that I think of it. Carnifex might be the right size. You know, just like one of those back plates, you know? Because there's always actually those Tyranids, those big Tyranid monsters always have plenty of those extra back parts, because like they have different configurations and shit. But yeah. Bayushi, Armorcast? Is it? No, it's not Armorcast. They do 3D printing. Deadly Print Studios. Yes, Fire Drake, that's it. Deadly Print Studios. Or Mini Factory. No. It's Mini Factory might be as well, but no, I follow Deadly Print Studios on Instagram, and yeah, they're the ones who I see their pictures, and they make really great pictures of the printed models. Or not printed models, but like the printed effects on the models. So like, there was recently one. It was a jetpack, and it was like smoke and everything. And I think it was like for an orc boy or something. And it was, you know, he's taking off, and you could see the flame, and it looked really good. It looked good. I've seen other ones, explosions and shit like that. The explosion one was actually pretty darn cool. Next email is from James Hiroke. Hi, Kris. I recall in one of the recent Way the Brush streams, you expressed an interest in pictures of our helmets. Unfortunately, I only have bare helmet pictures this week. While I struggle with painter's block on other projects, I smashed these 2 out. Smashed them right out. The Imperial Fist was done experimenting with Chimera through an airbrush, followed by oil washes. Very happy with the yellow color, but I seem to have lost a lot of the undershading zenithal contrast. The oils also left quite a satin, almost glossy finish on the model. Fine for this one, as I wanted it grimy, but I imagine this could be fixed in the future with a matte varnish. Prince Uriel was a very neglected model, being resin, and in need of a nose job. It languished on the shelf for 2 years. I didn't like the original armor color, so went with Eldritch Raiders theme. Lots of contrast paints with Pro Acro paints for everything else. In the end, I'm pleasantly surprised for the quick afternoon job. Keep on your thoughts. Keen on your thought. Fuck, I can't read. Keen on your thoughts. Cheers, James, aka Hiroke. And so let's have a look. Oh, Prince Uriel. And you didn't like the color scheme? Looks good to me. Need of a nose job. Oh yeah, look at that. He's got an air bubble on his nose. Looks like the Red Skull. I like your non-metallic on the blade. I like your work. Looks good. And so this is contrast with an oil. Now, you see how it looks a bit chalky. Okay? When you are playing in mixed media like this, where you are using acrylic paints and oil paints together on the same surfaces, oil paints typically, they'll sit on there just fine, but they will interact in odd ways, and especially if you're using oil washes the way typically everybody uses oil washes on miniatures, which is kind of like basically doing them like contrast paints. It's better to put a gloss sealant down before applying your oil wash. It mainly protects the undercolor. It doesn't affect the under layer. It creates a nice little barrier. Using gloss ensures that the oil paint will flow into recesses and around details the way you typically want oil paints to do. And then, of course, when the oil paint is either a little bit still wet, you can wipe it away, or once it's dry, you can use a spirit and draw the excess off, and you have that varnish layer, and it's not going to pull too hard on that layer of paint. So if you're using mixed media like that with acrylic paints and oil paints, yeah, you definitely want to seal between things. Ooh, look at this. Yeah, see how you end up with that slightly grainy chalk? Now, I mean, for this figure, I'm sure it probably works because it adds to that griminess, right? And it actually, like down at the bottom of that shield, it actually works really well because that actually looks like corrosion. And so it works, even up on the metal bits, you can see it as well. Yeah, it looks really good. But typically, yeah, if I was doing this, yeah, I would have, oops, shit. There we go. Yeah, typically I would seal before I apply oil wash. If I felt it necessary to do an oil wash. Of which I normally don't, actually, believe it or not. Yeah. Yeah, also if you so if you laid the yellow down, you started playing some highlights and stuff like that, and then you sealed this in a gloss and then applied your oil, yeah, you see how you get that kind of graininess? It almost looks like film grain, right? You see like the little tiny speckles on the surface. If that's your intention, then great. If it wasn't your intention and it did that and you weren't expecting that, then yeah, you need to use a gloss sealer on the model, on the armor at least, or wherever you're going to apply your oil wash, and then use your oil wash on those areas, and it'll do what you want it to do. It'll flow into recesses, and it won't change the value of your under paint job in there. If that's your goal, if this was your end, if this is what you wanted, and this is what you saw in your mind when you did it, then great, you won. Carry on. But if it wasn't, and you were surprised at how like it looks like film grain on the yellow, then yes, you need to seal before you apply your oil wash. Because you could just as easily have created this effect. You didn't even need to use oil wash. You could have just simply thinned out a contrast color or shade wash or any other water-based acrylic color to achieve this effect, or go for this effect that you were looking for, where it just falls into the recesses and does what it does. Again, a lot of people, they get hooked on this oil wash thing, and it's like, yeah, but I mean, it's just paint. It's just paint. Like, you don't have to use an oil wash. You can if you want, but you don't have to. Mediums added to contrast paints will achieve the same result without having to move into another product line or another chemical, essentially, right? Yeah, really nice stuff, though. I like it, though. I like it, especially on the Space Marine. I like it on the Space Marine. On the Eldar, I don't know why. It just really stands out, right? That slight texture. Also, too, if you've primed heavily on the figure, it also creates that slight texture as well. If you overprime. And it's really easy to overprime a figure. But if you are happy with your results, then by all means, carry on. And no, it looks good. It looks really good. The Space Marine, it works really, really well on. It works really, really well. Fire Drake, don't forget to smash that like button. Don't forget, yeah. Fire Drake, how many coats of varnish for oil washing? It's just one consistent coat. How many coats? It's just one. You just need one. The only thing is, though, is if you're used to applying a flat, even layer down, then it's just one flat, even layer. If you're not familiar with the concept of laying that gloss layer down, then yeah, you might overgloss it. There is the realm of possibility of overglossing it. And the only danger of that is that you might obscure and soften details, right? Because the gloss will round corners off if you've applied too much. But if you apply the right amount, basically with gloss varnishes, it's easy to tell when you've gotten an even layer down. right? Because it's glossy. You'll see the surface should be quite reflective, right? It's almost like water, right? Like it's that level of gloss. Whereas versus a matte, if the surface was already semi gloss, then yeah, it's easy to tell if you laid the matte down. But if the paint you're using is matte and you're putting a matte varnish down, yeah, it is kind of hard to tell. But there's not much danger of, I mean, it's still the same amount of danger of softening details, but if you're using it like that, and I don't really recommend using a matte varnish between layers if you're going to use an oil wash. It's the surface tension of the paints, and that's why you want to use a gloss, because it's just like when you over thin a paint, right? For everybody out there who's thinned their paints and have over thinned their paints and applied it to a surface, especially a smooth surface, you've seen how the paint just kind of just bubbles right up, right? And it doesn't even touch the rest of the surface. It just, all the paint just kind of gathers up. That's what oil's going to do on top of that gloss. But like contrast paints, the oil is going to fall into the recesses, just like contrast paints, right? It's going to do all that, right? People using oil washes and paints and surface paints are mediums designed to change the surface tension. I've already been doing that stuff for years and years and years, and contrast paints has basically just made that easier. And for water-based acrylics, even though the products already existed for water-based acrylics to do that to basically any color. So again, it's just Games Workshop capitalizing on established techniques, but making it their own. That's what it is. It's them making it their own. But otherwise, all this shit is an old hat. It's been around for years and years and years. Dark Commission, nicely painted mini. Yeah, I liked it. The Space Marine, I think it worked really, really well, especially the way the oil wash tinted the armor, and it fell into those tiny, tiny, tiny little pockmarks. That's essentially what you're seeing, right? That's why it looks speckled, and that's what it is. Fire Drake, good work. Yes. Legion, maybe some of the texture on the Autark is from the resin cast. No, I mean, it's possible, but no. I mean, like, if it was a resin model, then it's very likely it was fine cast, right? Because the model would have been fine cast. I remember that model being fine cast, which is resin, because otherwise that model was pewter. It was originally pewter, then they moved it to fine cast. Now, can you still get it? Can you still get that model? And is he? I would imagine he's probably back to fine cast, right? Or do they make small production runs of pewter models? I don't even know. I'm looking right now. I've seen some really excellent conversions with the Autark, with the new Autark from Eldritch Omens. I've seen a bunch of conversions for Uriel using the new Autark body, and they're good. They're really good. And you can't get Uriel. There is no Uriel on the website. I'm all the way at the bottom here. Army deal sold out. Can't get Warp Spiders no more. Oh. It only says temporarily out of stock, though. But yeah. I mean, unless I'm blind. Right? Am I blind? I'm probably blind. Because Scorpions are fine cast. Swooping Hawks are fine cast. They're still there. Right? Right? But yeah, people have been using that Autark for Prince Uriel. They've been doing conversions, and they look really good. Oh, the Corsairs! That reminds me, I gotta get my Corsairs done. And I've acquired actually more Eldar too. Believe it or not, I acquired more Eldar. I got. Oh, here, I'll just show you. I got 2 boxes of jet bikes, and I got another unit of Shining Spears, another box of Shining Spears. So I have 2 units. I have 2 boxes of Shining Spears, more jet bikes. Yes, the power of Samhan grows. You can see right down there. That's all Eldar. Yeah, that's all my Eldar. Or Eldari, excuse me, Eldari. I need another box of Howling Banshees because I only have one box of them, and I'd like to at least do a full unit of them. But anyway, enough about me. This ain't about me. Dark Commission. Personally, I think oil washes work much better on larger scale minis and busts. Sure, but the technique of and the usage of the paint to do what it does, you can do the same thing with acrylics. You do the exact same thing with acrylics, and it'll do just that. And it's just acrylics, and you don't have to change to a solvent-based solution to achieve that result. Again, it's just paint, people. It's just paint. It's not rocket science. Dark Commission. The point being that you wipe most of the wash away from areas to give subtle shading into the corners. Right, if you wipe it away. Some people don't. And there's two ways you can achieve that, right? You can do it while it's still wet, and you can do it with spirits and do it when it's dry. Again, right? Many different ways. Andy Ritchie. Yeah, Uriel and the Phoenix Lords were moved at the start of the week. Rotated it. Oh, it's part of the range rotation. Right. It's part of the range rotation. I remember that now. Because, again, it was like a month ago, right? Yeah, there was a bunch of them. The other Phoenix Lords and stuff. Right. Legion. Do you have some Samhan Shining Spears already painted? No, I do not. And Samhan Shining Spears, I mean, if you're following the lore of Eldari, they're not that attached to the craft world. Aspect Warriors are not attached to the craft worlds. So craft world, like Aspect Warriors of Samhan aren't red. Striking Scorpions will be green, whether they're on Samhan, Beltan, Uthwi, whatever, right? They'll always be green. Or variations, or your own colors. They can also be the craft world colors as well. You can paint them whatever fucking way you want, right? But as far as the lore is concerned, the Aspect Warriors, they state in the lore that, you know, when Eldari join Aspect Shrines, they detach themselves from their craft world, and they only belong to the shrine, and is only the shrine. The shrine is an entity unto itself within Eldari culture, kind of thing, right? So, anyway, yeah. So, painting up Striking Scorpion, Shining Spears, Howling Banshees, you know, to be in the traditional color scheme, that just means that your Guardians and stuff like that, like you can paint up your Guardians if you were a real stickler for themes, and you wanted to play Uthwi and Samhan and Beltan, but you didn't want to have many different Eldari armies, your Aspect Warriors could always be the same colors, and it's just the Guardians and the support craft that change colors, right? So, yeah, again. Legion. Lore is one thing, but Rule of Cool exists. Sure, I mean, painting up the Shining Spears to be Samhan, but visually it would look confusing. It would be confusing on the tabletop. Because those bikes look very similar to the Scout Bikers. Obviously, there's two guys on the bike, but still visually they're sort of similar, like as far as how big the bike is, right, compared to the regular jet bike, because the regular jet bikes are small in comparison to the newer. And I like that the Scout bikes are a different bike, the Shining Spear bike is a different bike, and the jet bike for the Guardians and the Warlocks and Farseer are all the same bike, which is cool. But yes, Rule of Cool. But I mean, like Shining Spears, you can paint them whatever you want. Aspect Warriors, you can paint them whatever way you want, and they do not have to look like their associated craft world. Now, you can put on their banners, their loincloths, whatever, the craft world symbol. That, you know, obviously is very appropriate, which is what I typically do. Do I have any Eldar here? I do not. But typically on like my Dire Avengers, they have the Samhan with a chevron on their loincloths. And that's how I distinguish but my Dire Avengers are blue with white helmets. Because I like I like the traditional schemes. You know, just the way I am. I'm really boring in that regard. For my gaming pieces, yeah, I'm really boring. I don't go for crazy wild color schemes. I like the established schemes. If I'm doing it for a tutorial or something like that, then yeah, I'll go wacky on schemes. But for my gaming pieces, for my collection, no. I'm big mountain of jet bikes that are all uniform. And they're consistent across. That's what I prefer. Consistency. I like consistency. Kim did the color on the cart body, pics in Discord, and I'm waiting till tomorrow before I put the 2K varnish so the paint is totally cured. Cool. I have one more email, I believe. Yes, the one from Gail, right? This one, it's titled Gay Noodles. I don't know what that means, but anyway. Tidied up my sergeant and started a diorama for a competition. As much as I love the grim, dank side of 40K, a little lighthearted story here and there is always appreciated. And yes, they do have a backstory because I can't not write shit. So going for a diorama piece. Nice Space Wolf. I like the base. I like the weathering. White scars. You know what? Like, I've never really been much for the white scars, but more and more the color scheme is growing on me the more I see it. And I think it's because there's more people who are painting up their Space Marines away from being Dark Angels or Ultramarines, Blood Angels, right? And they're starting to go for these other color schemes, these more like the secondary known color schemes, the established color schemes. And I like that I see more white scars these days. Because way back in the day, you never saw white scars. It was very rare. Very rare. Oh! Okay, so I'm going to assume this is your diorama. She's floating away, and he's like kind of thing, and he's like grabbing the tip. Is it just the tip? Is that the joke? Is that the joke? I don't know what the joke. I think as far as the composition goes, like what you've sketched out here, I think is really good. Now, you mentioned something lighthearted, but I don't get the joke. Is this a reference from a movie or something? Is that what the joke is? Is that this is a reference? Again, if this is a reference, then I don't get the reference. I mean, I'm sure you probably state it and say, yeah, it's this reference, and I'll be like, oh fuck, I'm dumb. But yeah. But as far as the composition is concerned, I mean, like, yeah, this works. As far as like a little battle diorama, a duel, is that what this is for? Is this a duel you're creating? A Seraphim versus Assault Marine with his ripped abs, more shredded than a Julian Sub. Anyway, yeah. Like like yeah, I'm not sure I get the reference. If anybody knows what this reference and what the joke is, please let me know, because I don't get the joke. I often don't get jokes. I really don't have much of a sense of humor. Legion. Maybe GW will also do 2-man jet bikes for Drukhari. Harlequins and Craftworld's already got them. Sure. 2-man jet bikes for Drukhari? Sure, I suppose. I think a brand new jet bike for them would be cool, right? Something that designed as a 2-seater, not just simply, I don't know. I mean, I think Drukhari having single-seater bikes, they kind of stand apart amongst the rest of the Eldari, because the 2-seater bikes for the Harlequins, like, they're pretty big chunky bikes, but they're different bikes as well, right? So, I don't know, does the Drukhari need a 2-seated bike? Do they need it? I don't know. I mean, sure, right? Why not? Have some sort of consistency amongst the range, battlefield roles, right? How they play on the tabletop, and sure. But it'd have to be something cool, right? Because I mean, like for the Eldari, the snipers, they're snipers, right? They're scouts. They're moving around, guy on back, rifle, whatever, doodad, right? They're doing things. Harlequins, it's a bit more of a close combat-y type of thing, right? Using their special weapons. So what is the Drukhari going to do with a two-seater bike? What role would that fill for them that they currently lack as far as making a jet bike force? Is there lore for a jet bike force with Drukhari? Like I realize that they have also the Hellions, right? The Hellions, nobody else has Hellions. And of course, if Drukhari need a two-seater bike, then does everybody need a jet platform like a Hellion? Does the Harlequins need that Green Goblin flying thing? Do the Eldari need it? Right? Like, at what point does everybody become samesies? Right? Which is why Space Marines kind of just bother me, because any army that does something really well, the Space Marines get to do it as well. You know what I mean? So it gets really dumb. And it all becomes samesies, and then what's the point? What's the point of new factions, right? Fulgrim, I'm writing a story on the Raven Guard falling for the sister. The sister dies. However, her soul took the place of her armor spirit, machine spirit, and is reanimated through it. Okay. Interesting. I don't know if Space Marines and sisters are supposed to be fraternizing with each other, are they? It's a story of forbidden love? Is that what it is? The story of forbidden love. Anyway, on that note, I think we're done. We're done? Yeah, holy shit, 34 minutes OT. If you're brand new to this hobby, you need some help with your color scheme, you want to show off what you're working on, maybe a commission painting service, whatever it is, I don't care. Send your emails to Kris@wayofthebrush.com. It is in the description below, as well as a link to wayofthebrush.com. Central hub of all the silliness, has links to all the social medias, as well as Discord. Join us on the Discord. There's only one rule. Don't be a dick. That's it. That's the only rule on the Discord. So it's pretty broad, pretty straightforward. And yeah, there's many channels, many discussions, so feel free to lurk, post, share. I fully encourage sharing. I like sharing. I like when people share their efforts, even if it doesn't matter what skill level. I'm talking any kind of level of sharing. I like it all. So please feel free. Also at wayofthebrush.com is links for t-shirts. Want to get yourself a t-shirt? Look like a connoisseur of all that is good and holy in this world? They're wearing a Way of the Brush t-shirt. And if you purchase yourself a shirt, send a picture of yourself in your shirt and I will add it to the monkey. Holy crap. What the hell just happened there? My program just kicked me out. Why would that kick me out? Why? Why would that kick me out? Okay, well, fuck you. I'm not pulling it back up. Fuck that program. I didn't like it anyway. Shirts. Shrine. Go. Also, at wayofthebrush.com is links for Patreon. Huge thank you to all my patrons for the continued support and all you brand new ones as well. Huge thank you as well. Without your support, this channel would not be able to continue to do what it is that I do, and so a huge thank you to all of you Patreon supporters. If you're not able to support monetarily, i.e. money, thumbing up the video, liking, following, subscribing, commenting, ringing the bell, blah, 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 blah. That all helps as well. And all takes a couple clicks of a button, and you're helping me out a great deal. So, huge thank you to everybody who does that. Big thank you to Carl, Guymere Alfer, Beer and Blood Bowl, YouTube channel. Check it out. We always take time to thank Carl, even though he is no longer with us, for taking the time out of his busy day to create the email jingle that plays before the email segments of the show. And so, always much love to Carl. And of course, speaking of love, much love to my baby brother Evan for creating the intro, outro music that plays the begin and end of the show. As always, much love to Carl. No, Much love to my baby brother Evan. Repeat. I fell into a causality loop. Much love to my big brother Evan. And if you're into rare comics, EB Comics. It's in the description below. Or if you're into beefcakes, you can just search them up in the Instagrams. Fire Drake. And maybe paid if you're on the other end of that. Maybe paid if you're on the other end. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. What do you mean? I don't know what that means. Anyway. We're done, right? We're done? Yeah, you can kill that window. Kill that. Yeah, there we go. All right. We had fun? We had fun. We got some emails, got some Instagrams, checked out the news. We're good, right? We're good. We're good. We're all good. We're all set. Everybody's good. Yeah? Okay. Take care of your brushes. They'll take care of you. And I will see you in the next exciting episode. What's the show called? Okay, so now that all the plebs are gone, baby juice. Why is that showing that twice? I guess the chat program just shit the bed, right? I'm gonna turn off that chat. Turn you off. There we go. Go away. So anyway, this is the post. This is the post show. No, we're not doing a full show. Fuck that. I'm not. No. But anyway, we haven't done one of these, one of these post things in a long time. So I figured, why not, right? Why not? Let's have a little chat. Oh no, I can't even see the chat anymore. I can't see chats. There we go. Talking about BB juice, comments. Yeah, but there we go. I can't see the comments. I don't know why. I don't know why the program fucked right up, but anyway, yeah. How you been? Been good? You guys been good? I realized that lots of news. I know the UK lost their grandma, and been lots of that. I'm not into making jokes about shit like that. I do have opinions on it, but I mean, if you know who I am, I think you know where I stand on things as far as that's concerned. So I don't think we really need to bring that up. I mean, if you want to clarify, sure, but whatever. What else? That's it, really. Just taking her easy, trying to navigate the world, trying to make ends meet and shit like that. So it's life, man, and we're all doing it. It's a struggle. We're all in the struggle together, and I don't really think we need to antagonize other people, make things worse on other people. Like, life is hard enough as it is, and yeah, like, can't we all just get along? Anyway, that's it. That's all. Yeah, there's no comments, so I can't see what you guys are saying. Oh, Yeah, Fire Drake. Now is the time for Project Mayhem. Yeah. So everybody, you've got now for everybody who's gotten their projects, or gotten their packages for Project Mayhem, you need to be posting. I know. I realize that it is kind of dangerous to associate yourself with the Project Mayhem because there's supposed to be anonymity there. So, I realize, but it's all for Project Mayhem. His name is Robert Paulson. His name is Robert Paulson. His name is Robert Paulson. His name is Robert